Mayel Ranyauch cries in pain in his hospital bed at Bentu's main infirmary. His arm has had to be amputated due to extensive injuries. 7-year-old Mayel is among many others who were injured when a bomb hit his hometown in Mayom, a town close to the Sudan and South Sudan border.
We are receiving all the military casualties and the civilian alike on top of our normal civilian, that our normal patients that have been dealing with.
Scores were admitted to the hospital following military clashes between Sudanese and South Sudanese forces, the SPLA, in and around oil fields along the disputed border. Clashes in March and April of 2012 saw the SPLA advance the oil field of Higlig, known as Panthao by South Sudanese. This oil field has been claimed by both sides as theirs. Observers say that this was the most lethal exchange between the two sides since the signing of a comprehensive peace agreement in 2005, which saw an end of a 2-decade-long war. International condemnation led to a ceasefire and the return of troops to ally positions.
The Sudan People's Liberation Army troops have been ordered to withdraw from Panthao Higlig. An orderly withdrawal will commence immediately and shall be completed within 3 days.
To avoid more casualties, the United Nations Security Council demanded that both Sudan and South Sudan redeploy their forces 10 kilometers away from the 1956 North-South borderline, in accordance with some previous agreements. South Sudan's oil struggle started when oil was first discovered in Unity State almost 35 years ago. Oil resources were one of the main triggers of a 2-decade war which started in 1983. The conflict resulted in the deaths of close to 2 million, while 4 million others were displaced as refugees. A comprehensive peace agreement in 2005 negotiated a referendum which saw South Sudan gain its independence. In July 2011, South Sudan celebrated its long-fought freedom.
A happy day like this should not dwell on the bad memories, but it is important to recognize that for many generations, this land has seen untold suffering and death.
Growing pains of the new independent state saw various unresolved issues sticking out like a sore thumb. President Salva Kiir, in a surprise announcement in January 2012, said he would halt oil production from the south, saying that no crude oil from his country would flow through the pipelines on the territory of Sudan.
All oil operations in South Sudan should be halted with immediate effect, and no crude oil belonging to South Sudan shall flow through the pipeline.
Just before South Sudan's independence, Sudan's oil production stood at almost 500,000 barrels a day, raking in millions of dollars, with almost 80% of the oil coming from the south. After independence, South Sudan produced 350,000 barrels a day, with oil production contributing to most of the country's revenue before oil production was halted.
While negotiations continue, our government is taking austerity measures to ensure the continued viability of our nation. As we have discussed internally, these measures will not be easy. However, they are necessary, as we will need to close the gap created by the loss of oil revenues.
With millions across the country depending on oil, either directly or indirectly, the lack of the production of this natural resource has affected the economy. As a way of looking at other sources of revenue for the country, the President has on occasion encouraged South Sudanese to look into the utilization of the country's alternative natural resources, such as land. With almost 80% of the country being fertile with untapped arable land, observers say that the country's agricultural sector has more potential than the much fancied oil sector, which has been one of the sources of conflict for decades. And for a country that receives rain for almost half a year, it is hoped that there will be less conflict in the future and that all its 8 million citizens, including Little Mayel, will be beneficiaries of the country's abundant natural resources and various other dividends of peace.